Hello everyone, my name is ALHussain. I hope you are all doing well. In this video, I'll be presenting my project titled Virtual Reality and Education. Over the next few minutes, I'm gonna walk you through how VR, which is an acronym for Virtual Reality, is being used as a powerful tool in modern education and how it enhances learning and what challenges educators face when using it. I chose this topic because VR is one of the most exciting technologies to me personally, and also how VR is shaping the future of classrooms and training environments. This project was done for English 107 class with the Professor Tonya Ike for fall 2025. In the beginning, we were asked to watch a TED Talk video in something we were interested in and get a research question about the video. That when a TED Talk caught my attention. The TED Talk called This Virtual Lab Will Revolutionize the Science Classes by Michael Bodiker from 2016. He talked about how virtual reality VR can be used in science labs to make learning safer, easier, and more exciting for students. This made me curious about how VR could change education and led me to my research question on the impact of VR in class. My research question was, in what ways has virtual reality changed learning and how can VR be used to enhance education overall? I ask this question because I want to know more about VR and the opportunity of learning while using it. And my answer to the question is this whole presentation. So let's start with the basics. What is VR? I will talk about the definition and the interaction. The definition is a computer generated simulation that allows users to experience and interact with the environments as if they were real. Instead of watching a video or reading from a textbook, students can put on a headset and step aside a virtual world. It mainly uses a headset and two controllers to interact with that virtual reality. One of my answers to the research question, how VR enhances learning, is the next slides in detailed information. But first, let's talk about the differences between traditional learning and VR learning. In traditional classroom, like the image on the left, students often learn by listening, reading, and memorizing. The teacher explains the concept, while the students take notes or raise their hands to answer questions. This approach works, but can sometimes limit the engagement. Students are only observers rather than the participants, or just they have limited engagement. On the other hand, VR learning transforms students into active learners, as you can see on the right. Students can enter a digital environment where they interact with objects and explore lessons hands-on. For example, instead of reading about human brain, they can examine a 3D model of it in virtual reality. According to Musavi et al. 2023, this type of experiential learning improves understanding, confidence, and retention. In short, traditional educations tell you what something is, while VR learning lets you experience it by yourself. One of the most important benefits of VR is immersions. Immersion means that the learners feel completely surrounded by the virtual environment. According to Makransky and Peterson's 2021 cognitive affective model of immersive learning of Camel model explains how immersions and emotional engagement enhances both cognitive understanding and motivation. When students feel like they are inside the experience, for example, exploring a 3D model of the solar system, their attention and focus naturally improves. This leads to a deeper learning, better recall, and stronger emotional investment in the subject's matter. Another key benefit of VR is experiential learning. Learn by doing. In 2023, a study by Mosavi and his colleagues found that students who trained in VR showed higher self-efficiency, meaning they felt more confident performing the real-world tasks. Think about chemistry lab. Instead of reading the steps, student can perform the experiment virtually, seeing reactions happen safely and instantly. Or in business classes, students can practice negotiation or leadership in simulated environments. The hands-on experience improves both conceptual understanding and knowledge retention. As Masovitel 2023 explains, this active involvement keep learners motivated and allow them to connect thoroughly to real practice. Safety and accessibility are two major reasons why schools and organizations are turning into VR. VR allows training in environments that would be normally dangerous or costly. For instance, fire safety simulation, like this shown by Simbot 2025, teach users how to respond to a real emergencies without any risk. Also, in the medical field, as IXR labs notes, VR gives students the access to the detailed 3D model for the human body, allowing them to practice surgery or procedures safely before ever working in a real patient. And according to Sumoradani and Lin, VR also makes education more accessible, allowing them studies in a remote or low resource area to experience advanced laboratories and environments that might not exist in their schools. In other words, VR breaks the barrier of geography and cost, bringing high quality experience to everyone. But despite all these benefits, there are still major challenges to be considered. The first one is cost and equipment. VR headset is highly powered computers and software license can be very expensive, especially for schools with limited budget. Sumar Dani and Len discuss how many institutions struggle with their financial investment needed to implement the VR on a larger scale. There are also the cost of training teachers, maintaining the equipment, and keeping with the rapidly evolving technology. This makes VR adopt uneven, more common in universities or developed countries, but still a challenge for underfunded schools. Another important challenge is health and comfort. According to Merchant 2014, found that long VR sessions can cause physical discomfort, including motion sickness, eye strains, or disorientation. Not every learner adapts easily to being in a virtual environment. Some may experience nauseous or dizziness after a few minutes. These side effects make it important for teachers and designers to limit sessions and create ergonomics, user-friendly experience. It reminds us that technology should enhance learning, not distract or harm the learner physically. Even when a school can afford VR and students are comfortable using it, another challenge is cognitive load or information overload. According to Ehen, Nowak, and Belson 2022 discovered that when students are too immersed in a virtual world, their brains can become overwhelmed. The excitement and realism of the experience maybe distract them from focusing on the key learning objects. To prevent that, teachers must design lessons carefully with pauses, guidance, and reflection time. According to Makranaski and Peterson, 2021, say that properly including teaching methods is very crucial. VR should not replace teaching, it should support it. Educators need to connect the VR experience to real-world discussions and assessments, turning the immersive moments into meaningful learning. The final challenge involves ethics and privacy. According to Blisiank, researchers and educators must follow a strict ethical guidelines when using VR. This includes getting information consent, protecting users' data, and ensuring that no experience can cause harm or trauma. Because VR can feel incredibly real, it's essential to consider emotional safety, especially for young learners. Ethic guidelines remind us that just because something is possible in VR doesn't always mean it's appropriate. So, what does all that mean in the future? Virtual reality is not a trend, it's a transformative tool that is reshaping education from improving engagement and safety to create equal opportunities for learners across the world. VR has the power to make learning more immersive and inclusive than ever before. But like any technology, its success depends on how we use it. Educators, designers, and students need to work together to balance innovations with accessibility ethics and thoughtful design. In short, VR doesn't replace the teacher, it empowers both the teacher and the students to explore learning in a whole new dimension. To conclude, virtual reality has proven to be far more than just new technology. It is a bridge that connects imagination with education. As we seen, VR enhances engagement, deepens understanding, and allows students to learn through experience rather than only observation. Studies by Makranaski and Peterson and Han Nowak and Belenson show how immersive environments can significantly improve memory, focus, and motions in learners. However, as researchers like Sumartani and Lin remind us that challenges such as cost accessibility and the proper classroom interrogations still need to be addressed before VR becomes a standard tool in education worldwide. Despite these challenges, the potential is enormous. As technology becomes more affordable, virtual reality can transform how teach science, medicine, history, even business, creating inclusive, interactive, and engagement classroom for all. So, we look forward for the future of learning. One thing is clear: VR is not replacing education; it's redefining it. Finally, these are the sources I used to build my research presentation. Thanks for your attention, and I want to thank my group members Brian, Woody, Gaurav, and Karthik to help me do this presentation, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you.